You may feel alone right now. Not lonely. Alone. There's a difference. Loneliness weakens you, but being alone can build you into someone unstoppable. Don't fear your solitude. Harness it. Because some of the strongest people you'll ever meet were forged in silence, when no one was watching, when no one was cheering, when it was just them and the weight of their own choices. Most people don't understand the value of silence. They treat it as an empty space, something to be filled with noise, conversations, endless scrolling, or the constant hum of distraction. But silence is not a void. Silence is the gym where your mind lifts its heaviest weights. It's the place where you stop absorbing everyone else's expectations and finally face your own reflection without filters, without applause, without excuses. In silence, you discover who you really are, not the version that performs for the world, but the raw, unedited truth of yourself. And that truth is where strength begins. When you sit alone in silence, discomfort will show up first. Your mind will race. Your doubts will scream louder than you thought possible. Every mistake, every fear, every insecurity will demand your attention. That's why most people run. They can't handle facing themselves without distractions to numb the noise. But those who endure, those who sit through the storm, those who choose to stay, they uncover something extraordinary. Because when the storm of thoughts passes, what remains is clarity. You start to see patterns. You understand why you do what you do. You hear the voice inside you that's been drowned out by the world. Silence strips you bare, but it also rebuilds you sharper, stronger, more focused than ever. Think about every breakthrough moment in life. It never comes in the middle of chaos. It comes in stillness. The athlete discovers a new strategy in the quiet hours before dawn. The writer finds their best words in the solitude of an empty room. The entrepreneur envisions a future empire, not while surrounded by noise, but while staring at a blank wall with nothing but their thoughts. Silence is not just absence, it's creation. It's the womb of transformation. Without it, you stay stuck in the constant cycle of reacting to life instead of creating it. Alone and in silence, you stop reacting and start building. People often underestimate how much strength it takes to be comfortable in silence. It's not weakness to sit alone, it's courage. Because it means you're willing to confront the parts of yourself that the world doesn't see. It means you're not afraid to analyze your flaws, your habits, your mistakes. And in that confrontation, you begin to sharpen your discipline. You start asking yourself the hard questions. Am I wasting time? Am I giving my best? Am I choosing my future or just drifting into it? Silence is where you call yourself out, and no one escapes that process unchanged. The weak avoid it. The strong embrace it. The beauty of silence is that it doesn't just give you clarity, it gives you power. When you can stand in silence, when you can be content without needing noise, you become untouchable. Distractions lose their grip on you. External validation loses its hold. You stop being controlled by what the world thinks of you because you've learned to stand on your own foundation. In that space, you grow a kind of resilience that can't be shaken by gossip, opinions, or even failure. Silence trains you to rely on yourself, and once you learn that, nothing outside of you can break you. And here's the truth: silence is not boring, it's not empty, it's not wasted. Silence is opportunity. Every second you spend in it, you are either creating strength or uncovering wisdom that noise would have buried. That's why some of the most unstoppable people you'll ever meet protect their silence fiercely. They know its value. They know its power. And they know that the strongest version of themselves is born in those quiet hours when the world isn't watching. Silence doesn't just test you, it transforms you. And once you've been shaped in that fire, there's nothing that can stand in your way. Strength is not built in the spotlight. It is built in the shadows, in the places no one claps, no one cheers, no one even notices. Too many people depend on applause to keep moving forward. They crave recognition. They wait for validation. They want proof from the outside world that what they're doing matters. But the truth is this: the most powerful growth happens when you keep showing up day after day, even when nobody cares, even when it feels invisible, even when the world is silent. That silence is the test. Can you keep going without a pat on the back? Can you keep fighting when no one is watching? That's where real strength begins. Think about it. Anyone can perform when the crowd is cheering. Anyone can push when there's music, cameras, or recognition waiting at the finish line. But when it's just you and the grind, when the room is empty, when there's no energy to feed off but your own, that's when discipline separates itself from desire. Most people quit when no one notices their effort. They stop when the applause doesn't come. But the ones who don't stop, the ones who push without an audience, those are the ones who become unstoppable. Because their fuel isn't attention, their fuel is hunger. And hunger doesn't need an audience. You see, applause is addictive. It makes you feel good, but it tricks you into thinking you're strong. Validation is sweet, but it's temporary. It fades, it disappears. It can be taken away at any moment. If applause is your only fuel, the day it runs out, so do you. But if you've trained yourself to work in silence, if you've mastered the art of pushing forward without a single hand clap, then you've built strength that cannot be touched. No recognition, no validation, no approval can define you, because you already know who you are when no one is watching. That is a power that can't be bought, borrowed, or faked. Picture the person who wakes up at 5 a.m. to hit the gym. No camera, no post, no one even aware they're there. They're not doing it for likes. They're doing it because they refuse to break the promise they made to themselves. Picture the student studying when everyone else is out partying. Not because someone is grading them in that moment, but because they see the bigger picture. Picture the entrepreneur staying up past midnight, building piece by piece while the world sleeps. Not because anyone is giving them a trophy, but because they know their future depends on it. That is what strength looks like. Silent, relentless, unseen. It's easy to confuse recognition with progress. People assume that if no one notices their work, it must not matter. But here's the truth. The most important work is often invisible at first. Roots grow underground long before a tree breaks the surface. Muscles are built in hidden repetitions before they show in the mirror. Character is formed in countless private decisions before the world ever sees the results. So don't be fooled. Just because no one claps doesn't mean your work isn't powerful. Just because no one is watching doesn't mean it isn't working. Strength is always built in the unseen first. And one day, the strength you built in silence will show. The sacrifices you made without applause will speak louder than any cheer ever could. Because strength built without recognition is strength that lasts. It doesn't fade when the spotlight moves. It doesn't collapse when no one is paying attention. It's unshakable, immovable, untouchable. And when you finally step into the light, when the world finally notices, they won't just see what you've done. They'll feel the unbreakable foundation of who you've become. That's the kind of strength no applause can give you, and no silence can take away. One of the hardest truths you will ever face is that not everyone can walk your path. And the sooner you accept that, the freer you become. People will question you. They will doubt you. They will look at your choices and fail to understand why you're doing what you're doing. But that's not because your vision is wrong. It's because it's yours. It was given to you, not them. Your journey wasn't meant to be universally understood. It was meant to be lived by you. And when you stop expecting everyone to see what you see, you release yourself from the weight of their approval. There will be times when the people closest to you, friends, even family, won't get it. They'll tell you to play safe, to stay where it's comfortable, to be like everyone else. Not because they don't love you, but because they can't see beyond their own perspective. And if you're not careful, their fear becomes your fear, their limitations become your limits. That's why walking your own path requires courage. It means you have to learn to stand firm, even when the people you love don't understand. It means you have to move forward, even when you're walking alone. The truth is, people are comfortable with the familiar. They understand paths they've walked themselves. But when you carve out something new, you threaten the idea of what's possible. Your ambition, your drive, your hunger. It makes them uncomfortable because it forces them to question their own choices. That's why they may resist you, criticize you, or even distance themselves. But that resistance is not a sign that you're wrong. It's often proof that you're on the right track. If your vision doesn't challenge people, it's not big enough. The path you're walking will often feel lonely. Not because you're meant to be isolated forever, but because leaders always walk ahead before others catch up. Pioneers are the ones who go first, who break the ground, who take the hits before the road becomes smoother for those who follow. And that means you will lose people along the way. You will outgrow conversations, outgrow environments, outgrow versions of yourself that once felt comfortable. That's not betrayal, it's evolution. You're not leaving people behind to be cruel. You're moving forward because your future demands it. And here's something you must remember. Walking your path doesn't mean no one will ever join you. It means the right people will find you along the way. The ones who share your vision, the ones who match your energy, the ones who understand your drive. They will walk with you. But they won't appear until you've taken the first steps alone. That's the test. You have to prove you're willing to move forward without an entourage, without a safety net, without someone holding your hand. Only then does the universe send you people who are meant to build with you. So don't beg people to understand. Don't water down your vision to make it easier for others to accept. Don't slow down your pace because someone else isn't ready. Your path is yours. It's unique, it's sacred, and it's necessary. The misunderstanding, the loneliness, the resistance, it's all part of the journey. You're not walking the wrong road just because you're walking it alone. In fact, the very fact that so few can walk it with you is the sign that it leads somewhere extraordinary. And when you finally reach that place, when you stand where you were always meant to stand, the same people who doubted you will look at you not with confusion, but with awe. There are moments in life when everything seems to pull you away from the crowd, when doors close, when connections fade, when opportunities disappear, and you're left wondering why you feel so isolated. In those moments, it's easy to believe you're being punished, abandoned, or left behind. But the truth is, isolation is rarely punishment. It's preparation. Life doesn't push you into solitude to weaken you. It does it to sharpen you, to separate you from distractions, so you can build the version of yourself that the next chapter demands. When you're in the middle of that season, it doesn't feel like preparation. It feels heavy, confusing, even unfair, but preparation often does. Think about it. Athletes train for years behind closed doors before they step into the arena. Soldiers endure grueling drills long before they ever see battle. Champions are made in training, not in the spotlight. And your life works the same way. When you feel isolated, when you feel cut off, that's your training ground. That's life equipping you with skills, discipline, and resilience you couldn't develop if you were still surrounded by comfort and applause. It's in isolation that you discover strength you didn't know you had. Because when there's no one to lean on, you're forced to lean on yourself. When there's no one to tell you what to do, you're forced to make decisions and own them. When there's no hand to hold, you learn to walk taller. These lessons may feel brutal in the moment, but they build the kind of independence and grit that nothing else can. And once you've mastered those lessons, you carry them for life. Preparation isn't about making things easy for you. It's about making you unshakable, so that when life tests you, you don't crumble. Most people resist their seasons of isolation because they're uncomfortable with stillness. They crave constant movement, constant affirmation, constant activity. But growth doesn't always happen in motion. Sometimes the greatest leaps are made in the pauses. When you're forced to slow down, you finally hear yourself. You start to see clearly what's been clouded by noise. You recognize patterns, cycles, and weaknesses you never noticed before. Isolation strips away the clutter so that your focus can sharpen. It's the refining fire that burns off what you no longer need, leaving only what's essential for your future. And while it may feel like you've been cut off, the reality is that isolation connects you more deeply than ever to your vision, to your purpose, to your own voice. When you're alone, you're not juggling everyone else's opinions, demands, or expectations. You're free to explore your own thoughts, your own creativity, your own goals. That's when ideas surface. That's when clarity hits. That's when breakthroughs are born. The solitude you resist is often the very space where transformation happens, where you stop being the person you were and start becoming the person you were meant to be. So don't mistake preparation for punishment. Don't confuse isolation with rejection. When life pulls you away from the crowd, it's not pushing you backward, it's pulling you deeper. Deeper into yourself, deeper into your potential, deeper into the strength you'll need for what's coming. It may not make sense now, but every day you endure, every lesson you learn, every ounce of resilience you build in that season is preparing you for the moment when your preparation collides with opportunity. And when that moment comes, you'll realize that the solitude you once hated was the very thing that built the foundation you needed to carry greatness. When you spend time alone, one of the most powerful realizations you come to is how valuable your energy really is. You begin to see that your focus, your time, your presence, they're not endless. They are finite, and every moment you give away is an investment. But here's the truth, not everyone deserves that investment. Not every invitation is worth your yes. Not every conversation is worth your voice. Not every person who wants access to you has earned it. Protecting your energy is not selfish. It's survival. It's the difference between building a future that's solid and scattering yourself so thin that nothing you touch ever grows. Energy is currency. And just like money, if you spend it recklessly, you'll find yourself broke when you need it most. How many times have you wasted energy on arguments that didn't matter? On people who only wanted to drain you? On environments that left you feeling smaller instead of stronger? Those moments are costly. They don't just steal your time. They steal your drive, your confidence, your ability to pour into what actually matters. But when you start treating your energy like gold, you stop handing it out carelessly. You learn to pause before you say yes. You learn to ask yourself, is this worthy of me? That single shift changes everything. Boundaries become the armor that protect your energy. And boundaries are not about shutting people out. They're about making sure the right people stay in. They're about creating a filter so that your time and attention are no longer hijacked by those who have no intention of adding value to your life. Alone time teaches you this, because when you strip away the noise, you feel the difference between peace and chaos. You begin to recognize how heavy the wrong people make you feel, and how light you are when you choose wisely. That awareness gives you the courage to draw lines, to protect your space, and to refuse entry to anyone who doesn't respect it. When you start protecting your energy, you also start protecting your future. Because every drop of energy you save from being wasted can be poured into your goals, your growth, your purpose. Suddenly, instead of feeling drained, you feel fueled. Instead of chasing approval, you're chasing vision. Instead of giving everything to people who only take, you're investing in yourself, in the habits and actions that will actually move you forward. The strength of your future depends on the strength of your focus today. And protecting your energy is the key to staying focused when everything around you tries to pull you off track. People may not always understand when you start saying no. They may call you cold, distant, or selfish. But the truth is, they benefited from the version of you that gave everything away. And when you finally decide to protect your energy, it disrupts their comfort. Don't mistake their resistance for a reason to stop. Protecting your energy is about loyalty to yourself, to your vision, to your peace. And the ones who truly belong in your life will respect those boundaries, because they'll recognize the value you bring when you're at your strongest. Protecting your energy isn't about building walls. It's about raising standards. The more you guard your energy, the more unstoppable you become. Because nothing drains you, nothing distracts you, nothing derails you. You wake up sharper, more focused, more intentional. You give your best only where it truly matters. And that's how you build momentum that cannot be broken. Protecting your energy is one of the greatest strengths you'll ever master, because it keeps you aligned with your purpose and immune to the noise. Alone time doesn't just make you stronger, it makes you wise enough to understand that your energy is the most valuable resource you'll ever have. And once you learn to protect it, nothing can stop you. Every legacy that ever shook the world began with someone who dared to stand alone. Alone in their ideas, alone in their vision, alone in their belief that they were made for something greater. They didn't wait for approval. They didn't beg for permission. They didn't waste time convincing others to see what only they could see. They locked in, they focused, and they committed to walking a road that no one else had the courage to walk. That's the truth about greatness. It rarely starts with a crowd. It starts with one person brave enough to be different. Alone is where vision is born. It's where the seeds of revolutions are planted, where empires begin, where movements take shape. The world may see the finished product, the success, the recognition, the influence. But what they don't see are the lonely nights, the quiet mornings, the endless hours spent in relentless pursuit, while everyone else slept or doubted. Alone is not a curse, it's the birthplace of transformation. Every innovation, every breakthrough, every world-changing idea came from a mind that embraced solitude and refused to settle for average. When you learn to stand alone, you develop courage that no crowd can give you. Because the moment you stop leaning on applause and start standing on conviction, you become unstoppable. You don't fold when people walk away. You don't quit when they criticize. You don't collapse when no one believes in you. Instead, you rise higher, fueled not by the noise around you, but by the fire within you. That's why those who can endure solitude rise above the rest. They've trained themselves to keep moving when everyone else would have stopped. And here's the truth: most people avoid standing alone is not comfortable. It's not easy. It's not glamorous. There will be days when doubt creeps in, when loneliness feels heavy, when you question if the struggle is worth it. But those are the days that shape you. Those are the days that harden your resilience, sharpen your focus, and prove to you just how much strength you really have. Comfort doesn't create champions. Struggle does. And the struggle of walking alone is what transforms ordinary people into legends. The difference between those who dream and those who achieve is often found in their ability to endure solitude. Anyone can dream when surrounded by support, but only a few can keep going when the room is empty, when the world is silent, when no one is clapping. Those few, those rare, resilient, relentless souls are the ones who change the game. Because by the time the world finally notices them, by the time the spotlight shines, they are already unshakable. Their foundation was built in silence, their strength was forged in solitude, and their power cannot be taken away. So if you find yourself standing alone today, don't fear it. Embrace it. Let it mold you, let it shape you, let it prepare you for the greatness you're destined for. Because alone is not your weakness, it's your weapon. Alone is where you become the person who no failure can break, no doubt can silence, and no crowd can control. Alone is where you rise. Alone is where you transform. And one day, the very strength you built in silence will roar so loud that the world won't just hear you. They'll never forget you. Alone doesn't make you weak. Alone makes you unstoppable. So stand tall, embrace your solitude, and let the world witness the power of a soul that refuses to be broken.